Double slot on second and long all of a sudden. They faked the screen one way. They had a tunnel screen set up the other direction, and that was well read by UNLV. Dominic Christian made the catch. Las Vegas, final ball game at Sam Boyd Stadium for UNLV. And here's Williams, and he gets spilled around midfield. 3-0, and the Rebels get a big opening. Williams right down the middle, he could go. Nobody will catch him. No flags. 80-yard touchdown run right up the gut for Charles Williams.
Oh, look at the wham right there by the big tight end. Noah Bean just kicks out. Excellent effort. I tell you what, and then once he got past that second level, Drew, once he got past that second level, it was over with. We saw him a week ago. It was tough yards to go, right? He had a couple big plays, but that burst right there, you really got a chance to see the kind of speed.
You want to know what his kids think of him? Just look at this early performance. There's Williams lunging into the secondary again. He got 11 there, another first down.
Garcia and Brayton, those guys took care of business.
Here's Williams, got another decent opening. Leans across the 40 to the 39-yard line. Second and short. Oblad gives to Williams, spins out of the initial tackle. And he is going to be close. Williams, he's bottled up, no gain.
Great job of stretching that thing out on the edge.
Third down, close to 18. Oblad checks it down. And at the 30-yard line, that'll end it on a Daniel Brown tackle.
If we can't hit him too hard in those little shoulder pads.
Williams, no gain.
Bill's going to use his timeouts. You can't allow Charles Williams to sneak through one of those creases.
Well, he's into the secondary, and Austin Arnold came up, made the tackle at the 15. It is a first down.
Love the aggressive play call as well.
They're going to sweep with Williams. He has the sideline. He's got 11 on first down. Out to the 36-yard line. Among a number of Mountain West schools, including San Diego State, Colorado State, recruited the Vegas native Oblad. He stayed at home.
In my estimation, it's a quick flip. This can be turned around very fast.
Williams got turned around very fast on that play by Hausia Sakona. Williams looking for room. To the 36-yard line.
And we are live. Hope you like my little Charles Williams preview. Welcome to the Scarlet Standard. We are honored today to be joined by a legend at UNLV. You know, Charles Williams was a hell of a player for the Rebels. He's the all-time leading rusher. He had 6 years in the program, over 4,200 yards in his career. And he did it during one of the toughest stretches the program's ever seen. You know, the transition from Sam Boyd to Allegiant, things like that. He just didn't play here. He carried the weight of the program. Now, a couple years later, he's still heavily involved with the program, still around the program. And now UNLV looks completely different. New coach, national attention, real expectations. So today we're tapping in with a guy who helped lay the foundation for UNLV football. We're talking legacy, we're talking records, you know, we're talking everything. And we want to see what he has to say about the expectations for 2025 for UNLV football. You know, I have very high expectations for this team. I think this team is going to be great. I think this team has, you know, a lot of pressure on them. And it'll be interesting to see a different perspective on what that pressure actually is and what that pressure can build on. So we'll see. I think, and I want to know, one of the things I want to know from Jet is, can Jaden catch Jet's record? It's about almost 2,800 yards short, but with the added games and the extra playoff, with the playoff potential or the bowl game potential, can he get there? And if you guys have any comments or anything that you want to ask Charles before he hops on, drop them in the chat. Drop them, and I'll post them on the screen for him. But yeah, I think, and we have Charles Williams with us.
How you doing?
Chuck, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. How's everything going today?
Everything's going good. Just relaxing right now. Kind of dreading to go into work in a little bit, but just relaxing right now.
Have you you're still in Vegas, aren't you?
Yeah.
What are you doing now? You coach? I saw some pictures that you're coaching.
Yeah. I coach a little bit at a school called Conquest Swimming Academy, and then I just do regular work, 9 to 5 stuff.
There's a lot of former UNLV players on that staff, right?
Yeah. So it's me, Nate Oisi, Darren Palmer, JD Alexander. Who else is on there? Mike Hughes, Gabe McCoy, and then Sid Acosta and Justin Foley.
That's definitely a good bunch to be around. You played with a bunch of those guys, right?
Yes. Oh, and Christian Clapp. Forgot about Clapp. But I played with majority of them. Yes, yeah, all of them actually. Yeah, I have. Yeah.
I was gonna say because you were at UNLV for 6 years, so I think you probably crossed paths with all of them at some point.
Yeah, I most definitely been there for 6 years. Everybody should know that. I'm grandpa around UNLV. That's why I got all that. So I got all that recognition and stuff like that. But besides that, found my way, just crossing paths with a lot of those guys. Especially Nate and Justin and Sid. They're offensive linemen, so we gonna always, see eye to eye and come together and talk and communicate and chat, whatever it is about football or life, so little stuff like that. Yeah.
How's your team look this year? What's the expectations for them?
It's a lot better than last year for the part that we had a lot of transfers that couldn't play last year because of the rule out here in Nevada that you transfer, you have to sit out the whole year. So we had to go through that little regimen and everything like that. But once we figured out who we were working with last year, it got better throughout the season, and now we have a better feel for who's going to be the main guys and who's going to be our leaders, who's going to be our captains, all that type of stuff. It's a lot better going into year 2 instead of year 1, rebuilding the program. So it feels pretty good going into this season and stuff like that. Just, right now waiting for the pass to get on real soon. That's what I'm looking forward to.
When does your guys' season start?
I believe August 15th or something like that, or around the 20th. One of those.
So technically, it's like summer ball, fall camp, really gearing up. You got a month away, basically.
Yeah. Just waiting and making sure these kids are healthy, so when we get into the season, we don't have no nagging injuries.
So let's talk about your time at UNLV a little bit. When you think back at your time at UNLV, what hits first?
My time at UNLV was, how can I say, pretty magical, and it felt like home. So what I mean by magical is my freshman year, I'm getting there, and I really couldn't get a feel for if I was gonna play or not. So I was just really day by day, just trying the best I can to get on the field, and eventually, I got some play time against Jackson State, and I just felt after that it was pretty, that's where it took off after that. But and then on the other side, I said magical. What magical and
magical?
At home. In the home.
And at home. Yeah.
The thing about UNLV, they just opened their arms up, because when I was coming out of high school, many teams were offering me as an athlete or as a DB, which is funny because nobody believes I could play DB. But UNLV was one of the schools that let me play running back, and I appreciate them for that. And it felt like a home because my family was able to come and see me at most of the home games or some of the away games, and most of the time I just got to be able to have the feeling not being homesick because I knew I was only like a flight away.
Was there because you mentioned magical, right? You know, your time at UNLV was a little, was up and down. You had winning, you had high points, low points. Was there a point when you realized that you weren't just surviving, you guys were starting to build a foundation for something?
I would say for me, my freshman year was UCLA. Like that game, I really felt like what Coach Sanchez was trying to do. He had everything like going as far as like the recruiting and then getting the Petita complex going, all that type of stuff. He just needed, how can I say, just maybe one more year to show that we could really took off. Because the thing is, we just had a lot of inconveniences, like quarterback situation, like somebody who was either hurt or not able to play because an injury or them uh, not being able to play because they're redshirted. Like for instance, Armani was redshirted his freshman year. Like would have loved to see how that was. Me and him as a true freshman. Uh, and then just a lot of other things like we had big time recruits come in, but it just didn't pan out, stuff like that. So that's just a part of recruiting and stuff like that. But another thing is, well, not another thing, but the real like 2019 was when I really understood like we built a foundation because it was like we weren't losing like poorly. We were just like not getting out executed. We were just how can I say we were just like one more class away from being able to take over the Mountain West, in my opinion, in
Because
2019.
if you look back at like the foundation that year, it was like you said, it was strong. The following year was like that one more step, and then
Mm-hmm.
after that, Barry came in and just it took off
Well,
from there.
Arroyo came in for me for
Yeah,
2020.
Royal came in because
Oh
it
yeah,
was
oh yeah, you talking about right?
2021, so it was like that one
Yeah,
class away,
yeah,
and then Barry came in with that class and just kind of just took
yeah,
off.
yeah. And the thing about with Barry and his class is basically like just how can I say, after you just get your car washed and everything, a nice little wax. Just, he was just waxing the car, making it real nice and shiny. And I just feel bad for like the players that didn't get the bowl game experience, including me. But it is what it is. It's life, and we live on, and we get to enjoy the memories we have.
So your nickname at UNLV was the Chuck Wagon.
Yeah.
When did that become more of a identity for you than just a nickname? Because it seemed like every broadcast it was Chuck Wagon for 5.
Uh, well, at first, Mark Wallenson came up with the name because I drove a Dodge Magnum at the time, and it had the satchel back, whatever it is. So he was like, "Oh, the wagon drives a wagon." I'm like, nah, he's about to come up with the Chuck wagon because I was like, I heard a Chuck wagon before. It's a Chuck wagon where I'm from in Fresno, but it's on the outskirts in a town called Sanger. They sell food. It's pretty good. But I was like, oh, he's gonna call me the Chuck wagon. I had a feeling, and then he just ran away with it. And then, yeah, I would say like after the third game in 2020, people just started calling me Chuck wagon, and I just got used to it.
Let's you were there long enough to see the like how you mentioned the transition from uh Sam Boyd to Allegiant. What was that
Yeah.
like?
Being a Sam Boy was, amazing for me. Like we had a lot of historical moments in there, a lot of big games. Like for me, my first game against Fresno State, playing against Josh Allen in that crazy overtime game.
I
Uh,
remember that. I was going to UNLV at the time. That was like 60 something to 60 something.
yeah, we was going back and forth. And actually, Josh Allen was, me and him were real close at the time because he's from Fireball, I'm from Fresno, so it's not that far away. So I was like trying to, tell him after the game, I'm like, man, that was a hell of a game. Like, shout out to you and try to put the team on your back. Good luck and everything. And then, he ended up blowing up the next year, so that was pretty good. But then another historical game at Sam Boyd was probably the last game at Sam Boyd against San Jose State. Like, that was just, the cherry on top. That's how you go out with a bang for Coach Sanchez and everything, too. And then the transition to Allegiant Stadium was crazy because like for one, playing inside is so much better. Even when it's like cold or hot, like it just makes it big difference instead of, we practice in the cold weather and in the hot sun, but like, how can I say, like, going in there now is just like neutral for like everybody, and it feels better for us because now we get to play. Like, we didn't practice and played in all these elements and stuff, and now we get to play in the dome, and it just feels good, like being able just to play freely and stuff like that. But the craziest thing is like you're in the same stadium as the Raiders playing and stuff, so that's like the feeling. Like, oh, I had said like one time in one interview, I was like, was it John Gruden might be up in the press box watching us? You never know. So it feels good just being in that stadium. It had a lot of juice, and I appreciate all the fans and all the family that came to support us throughout those years.
So let's talk about your rushing record at UNLV.
Uh-huh.
That's been the standard now, obviously. That's a lot of guys are chasing. When you talk about when people talk about the greats to wear a Rebel jersey, they start with you. What does that mean to you?
It's kind of, I don't know, like it feels good, and I just don't know how to accept it yet because I'm kind of humble about it. But honestly, when I got to UNLV, the main thing was I was just trying to win. I wasn't trying to set no records. I wasn't trying to leave my name in stone or nothing like that. I was trying to win and get to the next level, and that's all I'm about is just winning and just elevating it as much as I can. But like to see my name in the record books, like even like when I'm playing NCAA, like from time to time I'll like make sure they got my name spelled correctly and stuff like that. It feels good just to see your name in the record books, and like I felt like after my freshman year, because I had set some records as a freshman, I was like, I'm not too worried about like chasing the record. I even told like Coach Roy, I'm not coming back to like setting no record or anything. I'm really coming back to improve myself for this one last year, so I can make my impact in the league and show that I can, be a player at the next level. And the biggest thing about those guys being motivated to break those records, that's what they're for. That's motivation for others. And I just want them to get to wherever they want to be at. If they want to break records, let them break records. If they want to win, they can win. And it feels good that like I set the standard for the running backs to go get something at a high value. Because honestly, if my main goal is trying to get 6K like Donald Pumphrey, but I knew that was less than likely just based off like I was realizing like we ain't got no bowl games and stuff like that. It's gonna be a lot harder than it is. So after my last year, like getting ready to prepare if I was gonna come back or not that 2021 season, I was really like I'm not chasing a record. I'm just trying to go out here and elevate my game and make myself a better prospect and a better player and a teammate for this year to come.
Do you still talk to Arroyo at all now that he's at ASU?
He's pretty busy and stuff like that. I don't really get that much. I don't even get to talk to like really Coach Sanchez like that either. They're so busy just trying to get their teams right and try to achieve the goals they got set for their team and what the standard is for their team. So I'm already knowing like from time to time we would probably like chat, but it's nothing personal like that. It's just they're busy. I understand that. That's life. When you have a job, you have to prioritize certain things in life. And, you'll check in on people that you came across down the road.
I've talked to a few of the running backs on the team this year. I've done some interviews with them. They mentioned like Jet mentioned that you came to practice a couple of times last year. And you've been around them. What's your advice been to them, and how can you, since you're still in Vegas, how can you mentor them from far away?
With Jet, I just told Jet, like, bro, like, at practice, you got to be able to practice as hard as you can so when you get to the game, it's easy. Treat every play like it's your last play. You never know. Somebody might be slipping on a play thinking they got you wrapped up, and you break the tackle, and now you're going for an 80-yard touchdown. And then also, you got to, like, buy into the little things like pass pro, catching the ball, making people miss when, the play goes wrong. You can't expect everything to be perfect. Little things like that, but I always tell them, like, don't get frustrated. If you do get frustrated, don't show the old line that you get frustrated because if they feel like you don't trust them, they're going to start thinking, I don't know what, like, I don't know why you don't trust me. Like, you don't want your O-line or everything like that. So I always tell them, like, body language is the biggest thing as a running back. If you have a bad play, get up. Hey, man, next play, we good. And little stuff like that. But, the guys coming in, I know they're a lot older than Jet, or not a lot, but they're a little bit older than Jet. So with them, just telling them how it is at UNLV, what most teams like think of us and all that type of stuff. What like how it is to have the rivalries and stuff like that against like Reno and everything like that. That's more of what I would be telling them, just to get them amped up and juiced for those type of games.
It doesn't matter what the record is. When UNLV and Reno play each other, it's a slugfest, and it's brutal, and they're gonna talk their talk, and it's gonna always be ugly a little bit.
always gonna be ugly, but that's little brother over there. So little brother always trying to get up to little brother standards. We got to show them who's boss every other year.
I looked
not
it up.
every other year.
They've won 6 of the last 9 against Reno, so
That's
you were
good.
part of that.
Yeah. I remember the big comeback at Sam Boyd, and then I also remember going down there and beating them so bad they wanted to fight us after the game. So
I remember I went up to a game with my dad, and I think it was Sanchez's first season.
Yeah.
When you guys led the whole game, and I can't remember if it was Johnny Stanton was the quarterback, or whoever was playing quarterback at the time got hurt, and all they did was run the ball, and it went from how Reno can be. It can be nice, and then Reno's never nice, but like the weather was decent.
Yeah.
And that game was like 80 degrees at kickoff, and it just started raining and sleeting in the fourth quarter.
I think that was 2017 because I was hurt that year. I
think you were injured, but that was one of the wildest games I think I've ever been to, because that's when all of you guys came over to like the UNLV section that was right by the tunnel, pulling the can, and it was just like singing the fight song with the with the fans.
Oh no, that was 2019 then. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. 2019. That wasn't Johnny Stanton. That was Kane Oblad.
What? Yeah, that's right. That was Oblad.
Yeah, that was Oblad. that was a crazy game. I tell you. I'll give you a little insider. Nobody knows this, but right before halftime, I don't know if you can tell, but if you watch the game again, right before halftime, I get hit in my back. I had a back contusion or a lower back sprain or whatever. I had some type of contusion. My back was locked up the whole second half, so I tried my best, but my back was on fire the whole second half. I couldn't run. You can see it the first carry. I got a lot of room, but I just I can't hit the edge like I want to. Even my running back coach Burkett, he's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." He's like, "No, you're not." I was like, "My back hurts. Yeah, my back hurts real bad, but I'm not coming out this game." That's how intense it was, playing against them. You don't even want to come out the game even if your back hurts.
So we were talking a little bit about Jet.
Yeah.
Do you think he has a real shot with all the extra games to catch your record?
It's just a matter of how the game goes. With UNLV now, they're winning and blowing teams out. You know how that is. You don't get the stats you want, so it's really just based off how the games go and how he does in those big time games too. Because in those big time games, that's when you really get the big yards, because teams usually overplay something. How you game plan all week and then you game plan, and we hit you backside instead of hitting the front side like it does on film. So there's little stuff like that. You just got to be able to step up in the big games too. Like my 2019 season, nobody had me nobody had me rushing a lot of yards against Northwestern. You would have thought Chuck gonna have a decent game, probably a touchdown, but came out on the scene and set the tone off early in the game, and Northwestern focused on me so much. Armani started being able to run the ball. So it's little stuff like that. You can't really say, "Oh, you can go get the record is easy." It's really not that easy as it sounds, because going into a game plan, sitting in that in the offensive meeting room on Monday, you okay, we're gonna run the ball this week, or we got some good run plays this week. Or you can 1 year against Hawaii, we're in the meeting room and I'm sitting there, I'm like, "Oh yeah, we're passing the ball this week." I don't see any run plays. It's all base run plays. We're not trying nothing new. So I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a tough game. You got to get it. You don't count your reps. Just do as well as you can. That's all I can say. Don't count how many carries you got and all that stuff. Make every rep count.
Because I did a little rough math.
Yeah.
Because with the extra games they've been playing, if they played the conference championship like the expectations are, and the bowl game like the expectations are now, he's got 14 games each year for minimum the next 2 years. It was he needed 95 yards a game.
95 yards a game. That's doable. That's very doable.
That's that was my thought behind asking the question. I was like, it's not like it's 150 yards a game. It's under 100.
Yeah, but it's hard to get 100 yards in college football. Like, I wouldn't say it's hard, but like, it's not as easy. Like, it's not like high school where he has 100 yards. It's only the third quarter. Like, nah, it's not as easy as it sounds. Like, 'cause once you, how can I say, once you get that bright light on you or that spotlight on you, it's a little bit different. Teams keying in on you is, man. I used to hate playing Fresno State. 'Cause I was like, they're just gonna game plan and stop the run. I'm already knowing, and I'm watching like the little clips from back home because people sending me clips. They like, oh, look what the D coordinator said about you. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be a tough game. So like, it's usually like that though. I'm like, man, I used to hate this going into a week and they're really focused on stopping the run. They got really good run stoppers. I'm like, okay. Well, it looks like I got to do it in the pass game if they give me a chance. Like San Diego State, I used to just sit there just like, I hope I just get an outside zone that works this time.
So let's talk about the 2025 backfield that they have. You know,
Yeah,
it like you said, it's deep. But, you
yeah.
know, there's a lot more than just Jet Thomas. You know, with Glover, and Kayvon
Hmm.
Lee. What do you
Yeah.
see in that room? What's your expectation for that running back room?
It's definitely a lot of different type of backs in there. Uh, I think Glover's like 6 foot, like 210, 220. So like he's the power back that can, navigate and make big plays in the run. I don't know about the other guy, Lee. I don't know too much about him, but I know Jet would be like the change of pace, but he can get in there, hit the home run ball, put him in space in the pass game, little stuff like that. And then you would really have a good rotation with them. Like just in reality, you want three good running backs because it switches up the defense too. The defense has to play them differently. If I come in, it's kind of like when we had me and Lex and X and Evan Owens. If I come in, they like, okay, he can hit the home run too, but he's more like the powerful like runner compared to Lex. And Lex comes in, he can change the pace, he can cut it all the way back, make you miss, and then make a big play. Then you got X, he'll come in, get the tough 15, 20-yard carry. Oh, wait, and he can catch the ball. Then you got Evan, he just straight north and south, no nonsense, just gonna hit his head off the goalpost, or he can make you miss off of one cut, little stuff like that. Game planning a running back is easy, but when you got multiple running backs to worry about, it makes the defense a lot harder. It stretches the D coordinator out so much. I already know, kind of like Jamar Gibbs and David Montgomery. You just don't want to deal with either one. It's like they both can make you miss in space. They both can make the big plays. They both can catch. They both can block. That's another thing. All the running backs can block. The D coordinator doesn't want to blitz as much either. So that's the main thing.
Then
Being
that
able to,
opens up, zone gaps, RPOs, because they're not
yeah,
putting any pressure on that quarterback, and you have good reads to run through the line.
exactly.
Have you had a chance to go to practice at all under Mullen and see kind of what the new scheme is and what they're kind of running a little bit?
Not yet, but I tend to go to fall camp more than spring ball because spring ball, you're sitting people out, all that type of stuff. Fall camp, you fighting for your life, fighting for your spot. So you got to earn your stripes in the fall camp. So I love going to fall camp more.
Who do you have you caught up with any of like the quarterback battle stuff that's going on between Calandra and Orgy? Who do you think between the two would be the starter?
Honestly, I don't know. Like going into fall camp, you can have somebody as a starter after spring ball, and then after fall camp, you got somebody else starting. That kind of happened with us 2021. Everybody seen that Doug was starting in fall camp. And then at the beginning of the season, we got Justin starting. So anything can happen.
Um, what do you think about all the hype that's around UNLV now? Like, what do you think what is your expectation for them for 2025?
I don't feel like it's hype. It's the real thing. Like UNLV is the real deal now. They got a good coaching staff. They got a great facility. They got a great community around them. So shout out to y'all. Y'all always show support. And then just a good team overall. They brought in a lot of transfers that make an impact right now, and that have something to prove. Low risk, high reward type of deal. And I feel like they are trying to prove themselves. You got a lot of coaches on there. This is like their first time being like, big time coaches, or some coaches coming over here to get a, refresh and like, land their feet in, show that, I still got the juice. So it's a lot to prove mentality in there. Like I got something to prove. And Coach Mullen, him being out of the game for like a year, probably a year and a half, he's definitely got something to prove. They think, oh, does he still have it? All that type of stuff. Well, he's going to show it this year. I feel like, in my opinion, because with their schedule and everything, they should have a really nice, a really nice team and a really nice record by the end of the year.
What is your expectation for him? Do you think he stays here long term, or do you think it's another situation that kind of the Barry thing, 2 years and he's out?
So that's the type of thing that you really can't like focus on. Like you can just stay focused on the present right now. Because when you start worrying about that, I feel like the media does play a part of coaches making a decision though too. It's like media is saying, "Oh yeah, he can make so much money over here," and he didn't even think he wasn't even thinking about the money. I'm not even talking about Coach Mullen. I'm just saying like example A or whatever. This whatever like this hypothetically. We're talking hypothetically. I mean, but like Coach doesn't think about the money or anything like that. He's thinking about building a legacy. Making sure that people want to buy in, want to come to UNLV, and then all you see the media say, "Oh, money this, money that, money this. Oh, go get the money." And then he's like, that does sound good. I did earn my right. I did take care of this team. Now let me go, make my money somewhere else and start over again. But honestly, I think Coach Mullen is here to stay, in my opinion, because if you take this job, it's not like a stepping stone job anymore. Like you got to come in here certified and like locked in because everybody knows UNLV has the expectations. We're really a touchdown away from being in the CFP. So I can't even be upset with the results of that game and everything like that. But it just shows that we're one step away. It's kind of like back to what I said earlier. We're one step away from making this foundation go to a whole nother level. So you just got to buy in.
Because if you think about it too, like it's not like he's making $800,000 a year. He's making $3.5 million. So for some school to come in and really persuade, you're approaching, if you try to, that's like $7-8 million a year. How many schools really are going to spend like that unless it's a power?
Yeah, one of the Power 4 schools, but I don't think he takes a deal unless it's something that you got to take. With no circumstances, like you got to take that deal. But I don't think
like if you look at the Barry situation, he was making 1.7 at UNLV. He took 6.5 at Purdue. That's life changing. That's different.
He took a gamble, and that's about the thing about life. You got to take some gambles, man. Chances make champions.
What do you? We were just talking about the hype a little bit. Is there a danger in hearing hype and thinking that this program's already arrived? From
I
a mindset.
I wouldn't say already arrived because honestly, 2021 with Coach Arroyo, we played some really good teams. We went down to the wire. We lost about like 8 to 9 games that was 7 points or less. And I can name majority of them. I don't even want to talk about Houston, Washington. It made my stomach hurt. But we were going back and forth with Arizona State where they had Jaden Daniels. Where nobody was really blowing up about Jaden Daniels. Then lost a close game to Fresno State. They were ranked. They had Jake Hayner and all of them. And that team had Deron Bland too, which is very funny. Nobody knows that. But
Deron Bland, people don't realize he was a stud at Fresno State. Went in the 5th round. Just that talent showed when he got his chance in the NFL.
Exactly. And then the week after we played Utah State, they ended up. UTSA, which had Tariq Woolen and all of them. I didn't even know about him on the scouting report until like last minute. Like running backs, we don't worry about DBs, but my running back was like, "Oh yeah, you guys, they got a guy out there 6'3", just a 40-inch vert, another 4'3". I said, "Is that right?" I said, "And what does he play?" "Oh, he plays DB." I was like, "And I'm just hearing about this now." But after UTSA, we played Utah State. They ended up winning the Mountain West Championship. After Utah State, who we played? We played San Jose State. Tough game, lost by a touchdown. At San Jose State, who we played? Reno. They had that good team that year, whatever. At the Reno, we played New Mexico. And then after New Mexico, we played Hawaii. And then after Hawaii, we played San Diego State. And San Diego State was a close loss, too. That one really hurt because that was like the last time Allegiant Stadium for me. And I'm not gonna talk about Air Force. That was just salute to the people that take care of us in the air. That's all I can say.
um, obviously you've been in the locker room before, like
Mm-hmm.
in a college level. What has to happen in fall camp to make sure that this team's just, it's not just talented, it's ready to play that week
More,
0 game?
more just building a brotherhood. Honestly, those fall camp days, just being in the locker room all day. I remember being in the old locker room before the Fertitta complex. We used to be in there playing cards. We'd bring our games and play the games in there. We would be walking around, and getting treatment. Like just building that brotherhood to where down the years later, I'm inviting you to, something like special, like my kid's birthday party or my wedding or, something like my first house, my home opener or whatever like that, stuff like that.
Are there
It
any
just,
guys from your teams that you're close with like that still?
yeah. Majority of them, I'm really close with every single class that I was with, even in a Royal class, which is very funny because half them dudes was like 17, 18 when they was coming in. And like now, looking at him like Kyle, he's in New England. Uh, who else? Noel is in Kansas City, stuff like that. I always mess with Noel because Noel is like when he first got here, he didn't want to talk to nobody. I call him Mr. Antisocial. So if you ever see me calling him antisocial, you know why. He had to open up, later on and stuff like that. He was really just kind of come in and be about his business. That's why Noel was one of my favorites. He always had that dog in him.
Do you think this group knows how rare it is, the opportunity that they have now to be a Mountain West favorite and go to the college football playoff?
Yeah, they know their expectation. They know that the job is not finished. Like Kobe said, they got to go get that thing. They got to go get that Mountain West championship. I'm tired of seeing everybody flex their rings and stuff like that. It's time for us to collect some hardware. Trying to submit our school history, in one of those Mountain West championships. You know what I mean?
I think if you take the Boise game, or I'm sorry, the UCLA game aside, there's still 3 hurdles you got to get through. If you look at back, like UNLV's history. If you look back at UNLV's history, there's 2 games that they play on the road this year that they haven't won in those venues since 2002 and 2003, and that's Wyoming and Colorado State.
Yeah, because we just got rid of San Jose State.
Yep. And then the other game is obviously getting over that hurdle, Boise State.
Yeah. I remember playing against Boise State at Boise when they had Leighton Vander on kickoff. He wasn't even a starter. Crazy.
Was what do you think is a realistic expectation for this team? Do you think they can get to the college football playoff?
Yes. I think that it's just more of handling business. You can't worry about. You can't worry about what the media says, the outside noise. You just got to go in there and do your work, and go out there and collect the wins that you deserve, and the ones that is going to be hard earned. Everything is not going to be given, but like the games where it's like you're the favorite, go out there and show that you're the favorite. Don't play around. Don't mess around with your food. Get the job done. Get everybody out of there, and make sure everybody else gets some reps in the games. Like the schools where where we're how can I say not the underdog. Like go in there and handle business, and then the games where we're not the favorite, or we kind of like neck and neck. You go out there and earn that win the right way. Don't try to go out there and say we deserve that win. No, go out there and earn it. Now that's what I think UNLV is capable of figuring that out. We're not just out here thinking, oh, we got a chance. No, like we got to go out here and win. I think the mindset of UNLV is win, win, win.
Do you ever see yourself trying to get on UNLV staff in some capacity?
I would have to go to school for that. So if that's the case, then yeah, I'm gonna go back to school. You'll see me with a master's degree.
What would you say the favorite in your mind, oh my God, why am I butchering that? What is in your mind, what's your favorite game that you ever played?
It's between Fresno State, my freshman year. I'm gonna do either the Fresno State my freshman year or my last year in Fresno. Or It's the Hawaii game, I think. Just straight business. I just went in there and handled business. You know, Coach Arroyo didn't feel too confident with our passing game for a couple of quarters, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna have to just take over. Like, I'm not gonna lose this game. And I just didn't like how Hawaii was talking crazy to us last year. So that was like my revenge game. So yeah, I say the Hawaii game in the Allegiant Stadium. I was just out there doing whatever I wanted.
Yeah, you were going crazy that game.
Yeah.
What's other than Allegiant and Stan Boyd, what's your favorite stadium that you played in?
Let me think. Probably the Coliseum. I played in the Rose Bowl. Where else? Vanderbilt. Just playing in the SEC stadium was nice.
Vanderbilt has a very underrated stadium.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Northwestern was cool. We went to Arizona State. It was just humid. That was probably the worst stadium to play. I don't ever want to go back to Arizona. I'm sorry I lied to you. I just didn't want to go to Arizona. What else? Trying to think. UTSA was very rare, so I like their stadium.
They played in the Alamo Dome, right?
Yeah, they play in the dome, like a old school dome, like the ones you see in Friday Night Lights. Yeah, probably USC or the Rose Bowl. Out of those two.
Well, that's all I got for you. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I hope to see you at some games this year, if you have time to. I know coaching high school football and working is crazy.
It is, but it's the lifestyle.
What's you gonna be there week 0 against Idaho State?
I'm gonna try to be. If I don't got nothing planned yet, I'll try to be there just to see how they are. Hopefully, I can get on the sideline finally.
Why can't wait? What's been the issue getting on the sideline?
I think Allegiant, but I think Coach Mullen would want, the alumni on the sideline. I think Coach Odom didn't really care for it, having the alumni on there. He was because he was so worried about winning. I think Coach Mullen might be cool about it, though. Hopefully.
I think they're two very different style people,
personalities. Yes, personalities.
I mean, obviously, they both are former SEC coaches who want to win.
Yeah.
But personality-wise, I don't think you get more of the polar opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. You hit it right on the nail on that one.
Well, Chuck, thank you again for doing this. We'd love to have you back on again sometime, especially during the season. We can talk shop a little bit more football.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate you for having me, man. Best of luck to you.
Yep. Best of luck. Thank you.
All right.
Well, that was Charles Williams, UNLV legend. Gave us a little deep dive on everything that he went through at UNLV, his kind of expectations. Yeah, thank you for joining the Scarlet Standard today, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.